Hey, I'm back with a new video. And this video is going to be FAQ information type thing for Crohn's. Basically, just a little update on me. Yesterday, I had to go to the ER. Made it exactly 1 week since discharge. The pain was really bad again. I just needed more steroids and meds to get me through the next 2 weeks until my GI appointment. So here I am back at home making this video. So we'll just jump right into it. Crohn's is an inflammatory disease that basically affects the lining in your digestive tract. Basically, inflammation all throughout your intestines. It can be in your small or large intestines, or both in my case. It can affect any part of your gut, all the way up into your mouth, so that's wonderful. It affects the ability to digest and absorb nutrients in food, so that's fun. And approximately 780,000 Americans have Crohn's. No one actually knows what causes Crohn's. It can be hereditary if you have family members who have Crohn's or IBD. In my case, nobody does, so it's just kind of there, and doctors don't know. While they both can cause abdominal pain and similar physical issues, they are different. IBS is where contents in your GI tract move either too fast or too slow. More people in the world have IBS compared to IBD. It's way more common of a thing. IBD is caused by swelling, inflammation, and irritation in your digestive tract. Yeah, there is a difference. Some say IBD is more serious than IBS, which we all suffer, so whatever. Ulcerative colitis is also an inflammatory bowel disease, but it causes inflammation and ulceration of your colon and your butt. So there is a difference, but they both have a lot of the same symptoms and issues. So yes, our body's immune system mistakenly attacks the healthy tissue in our bodies. Our immune system attacks itself thinking that it's something bad when it is not. Some symptoms of Crohn's would be diarrhea, abdominal pain, fever, tiredness, fatigue, blood in your stool, mouth sores, which are great, those are annoying, malnutrition, unexplained weight loss, which isn't fun either, inflammation and dehydration. They can be mild or they can be severe. Some people are asymptomatic. Others, like me, are not that lucky. But no matter what, Crohn's is hard. It can take a toll on your mental health a lot and can just make you very tired and moody a lot of the time. And these things can just kind of come out of nowhere with no warning. I lived my whole life fine, and then once I was like 18 and 19, I just started going to the bathroom all the time. So yeah. Get diagnosed with Crohn's. Like for me, I had the abscess that came first, and they were like, healthy people can get abscesses. And then a fistula formed, and I saw a GI, and the GI was like, let's do a colonoscopy. So colonoscopies are a great way because they put you under, they put a scope up your butt, or maybe it's down, no, up, and they can see all the inflammation in your intestines. And that inflammation, it can either be all the way out or there can be gaps in between where there is healthy tissue, but it is narrowing your intestines and it is kind of thinning it out and creating the pain. Stool tests, tissue biopsies, CT scans, and blood work are other ways to pinpoint if it's Crohn's or not, but in my opinion, colonoscopies seem to be the best because they can get a very clear image, and you get to keep those images afterwards. So it's really interesting to see what your gut looks like firsthand from pictures. No. Crohn's cannot be cured. It can only be treated, but it is a chronic lifelong illness that you will have to deal with forever, sadly. Some treatments include biologics. Like for me, I'll be starting Remicade and an oral one. Remicade is infusions. So you go to, like in my case, I go to the cancer center. I sit and they put an IV in you for an hour, 2 hour, however long, and they inject the drug. And before, when I was on Remicade, it was every 8 weeks that I would do these. I don't know what my doctor is planning on doing now. Some people get them more than that, some people get them less than that. It really all just depends. And then the oral biologics, I cannot remember what mine is going to be called, but you take it orally and it's just a pill every day. You can take both, you can take one. It's really what your doctor recommends. There's also one like Humira where you give yourself the injections. Mine, when I was on Humira, was every 2 weeks. I would do it myself, which I hated because I hate needles. Steroids can also provide relief, but they are not for long-term use because steroids like prednisone can lead to bone loss and just make you feel not good, make your face blow up like how I got moon face. And it's a love-hate relationship with steroids because it's great for temporary purposes. Like I'm on it right now until I can get my Crohn's meds, but they cannot be used forever. It will do more harm than good at that point. It affects your gut and even your mouth. It'll affect anywhere from anus to mouth. A flare-up is what, I guess it's when your symptoms are the worst, is usually triggered by something you eat, stress, if you smoke cigarettes. I am a former smoker. I smoked for 3.5 to 4 years, a pack a day, and I did not quit right after being diagnosed, and it only made things worse for me. I did end up quitting in mid-2020 because my doctor recommended it, and I was finally like, you know what, okay. But if you do smoke, I'm not going to be one of those people who's like, don't do it, but it can make things much worse. So flare-ups is usually when it can be triggered by something, but sometimes they can come out of nowhere. I mean, it can be food, stress, anything. And it is where you have pain, you're pooping more, you're vomiting more, you are nauseous. So flare-ups are no fun, and we've all experienced them, and they suck. No, not everybody does. I'm on my 10th surgery, my 7th for Crohn's, because I've had other surgeries for other reasons, like my emergency C-section. I had my tubes removed, but I've had quite a few surgeries. Not everybody needs to have them. It really depends on your body and how you're doing, and other complications like abscesses, fistulas, if you need an ileostomy bag, stuff like that. But no, having Crohn's does not automatically mean that you will have surgeries. Don't worry. Yes, it actually is a disability. You can actually get approved for disability for your Crohn's. I've seen people in groups that I'm in talk about how they're on disability. It can be a lengthy process, and it can be hard to get approved because, again, it is an invisible illness. So you have to prove that you cannot work or cannot function like an everyday person. But it really depends on if you want to. Crohn's is debilitating, and it is classified as a disability. Not directly, but complications from Crohn's can, like severe dehydration and not getting checked out, malnutrition, but also perforations or obstructions, sepsis from things like surgeries. So it's very important to keep up with seeing your doctors, and if something feels wrong, like your body, you need to go to the ER or call your doctor, because even though Crohn's can't directly kill you, things involving it or complications from it can. So it is very important to stay on top of those things. Everybody's body is different, so your triggers may be different from other people's. Stress is a huge one for me. I find that when I'm really, really stressed, because I also have mental health issues, it can cause me to spiral into a flare-up. Diet is a huge thing. I've always said, I'm going to eat what I want to eat because you only live once, but it is important to try to minimalize the bad things. Like red meat for me is awful, so I try to only eat it once a week. Hot sauce, sadly, which sucks because I have a collection of hot sauce and I love hot sauce, but if you don't want to cut those things out, just try to keep it to a minimum and make sure everything else you eat is better for you. It's good to see a dietitian. I have a dietitian and it can really help you, but also IBD food journals, like the one on my Etsy, those can help a lot because then you can keep track of what hurts your stomach and what doesn't and what you can tolerate. And after a while of filling that out every day, you will see a pattern of what works for you and what doesn't. And so it's really important to stay on top of that. Infections can be triggers, also smoking cigarettes again, and ibuprofen is another thing. If you have Crohn's, ibuprofen was the only thing to ever help my chronic headaches, but I cannot take ibuprofen now because it will make the inflammation worse. So avoid ibuprofen at all costs. I have gone into spirals and flares because of taking 3 ibuprofen one day. So it's very important to try to minimize those things as much as possible. See a GI. Get in with a GI. Obviously, to be diagnosed with Crohn's, you usually see a GI, but routinely go to your GI. Make sure you keep your appointments. If you feel that something is wrong, you need to go to the ER or call a doctor. You need to keep on top of taking care of yourself because if you won't, nobody else can. And getting really bad with this disease can lead to complications, but also just make you miserable. And the best thing we can do is try our hardest to be as healthy as possible. Adjust your diet if you can. I know it's not easier said than done, and it's not fun to have to moderate what you eat and when you eat and what you can eat, but it is important to try to stick to a Crohn's safe diet because it will minimize your chances of having a really bad flare. And try to decrease stress. I know that's really hard to do, especially in the times of the world right now with COVID still around and, the gas prices being super insane. But it's super crucial to minimize stress as much as possible. And it's the only thing you really can do when you're having these issues. If you have Crohn's or were recently diagnosed, it is just very important to stay on top of seeing your doctor. I went a year without seeing a GI, and look at me now. In the ER time, going to the hospital, getting admitted, surgeries, you don't want it to all hit at once. It's better to have symptoms and flares and stuff like that here and there than all piling on at once and creating this huge shitstorm for you. So definitely do what you can. Do your research, follow people on Instagram or Twitter or wherever. Get a good support group. Facebook has great Crohn's groups. I'm in several of them, and it's really good to talk to people who have this as well. It can be comforting, it can be reassuring, and it can just really help with not only your mental health, but your physical health because you learn more. And we're always learning with this disease. But it's just important to research and learn as much as you can. I hope these frequently asked questions and answers could help you. I know it can be hard to try to understand everything, so I will also make this a blog post. You guys can have it to read if you want instead of watching a video, and so it's all there so you can screenshot, whatever. But thank you for tuning in. By the way, this is my little colon. I ordered an intestines one. They're from I Heart Guts, and this guy was $20. I ordered a brain one for Fox, so those should all be here tomorrow. But yeah, so bye guys, stay tuned.